Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Ron Busby. I'm the president and CEO of the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc., headquartered here in Washington, D.C. We began over 13 years ago with just 6 chambers. Today, we represent over 150 Black chambers around the country, located in 42 states with a membership base of over 300,000 Black-owned businesses. And when you talk to those businesses, all of them have one general concern. They want to know how to grow their businesses, how to increase the opportunities, and how to also gain the access to capital that they need to further their mission and as well as their vision. One of the things that we have been truly embraced with was around 3 concepts: intentionality, transparency, and accountability. When we talk to both corporate America as well as the public sector, those are the things that we're bringing to the conversation. And when we do, they come back with 2 concerns. Ron, we do more business with Black businesses if we could find them and if we had the size and scale. So this afternoon, we want to talk to you about a couple of different opportunities to be able to grow your business as well as to be able to have your business found. Historically, it has been about minority programs. All of the programs that have been created to move our businesses forward have been painted under the broad brush of minority. Historically, we have seen that it has been white women that have benefited the biggest in reference to minority programs. They take over 70% of the contracts that are being awarded from the federal government. And we want to make sure that Black businesses can be found, can be contracted with, as well as be supported. And so I encourage all of you that are participating this afternoon to make sure that you're being certified as well. Each morning when I wake up, I'm Black, and each evening when I go to bed, I'm Black. And so I want to make sure that Black businesses, as well as corporate America, as well as the private sector, can find me under the intentionality of being a Black-owned business. BYBLACK.US is where you start. Thank you so much. Make sure you onboard your firm. Make sure you're taking advantage of the resources, the information, and the opportunities to move your business forward, to be found, as well as support other Black-owned businesses across the country. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to part 2 of Contracts and Capital, Making Your Offer Count. On behalf of our president, Ron Busby, our board, chambers, and staff, thank you for attending. I'm Warren Richard, Outreach Specialist of the Community Navigator Pilot Program via the U.S. Black Chambers Incorporated, affectionately known as the national voice of Black businesses. We represent over 140 Black chambers of commerce and small businesses across the nation and are guided by our 5 pillars of service: advocacy, access to capital, contracting, entrepreneurial training, and chamber development. Contracts and Capital was crafted in collaboration with our 20 navigated chambers to provide technical assistance and resources to businesses across the U.S. with the U.S. Small Business Administration Community Navigator Program. Thank you for your assistance in developing and delivering this program. Today, we welcome a fireside chat and roundtable with 5 special guests to explore the essentials of a sound offer, comprised of a polished proposal, access to capital, and a solid bid of contracting solution. Our team at USBC and our Navigator Chambers anticipate being a viable resource as you pursue equitable and scalable opportunities moving forward. Moderating our informal discussion is the CEO, president, and co-founder of UpState New York Black Chamber of Commerce, Anthony Gaddy, an esteemed alum of the Albany Academies and the attendee of the universities of Southern California and of Chicago. Gaddy's footprint spans the Schenectady County Public Libraries, where he served as vice president, the NAACP, the Empire State Black Arts and Cultural Festival, and a host of other organizations. As a community advocate and change catalyst, Gaddy has been featured in Albany Business Review. Currently, Gaddy serves as vice president of Fourth Family, an Albany-based nonprofit that focuses on teaching STEM through sports, and board member of Albany IDA and CRC. Capitalize Albany, Berkshire Bank Advisory Council, Hudson Valley Economic Development Corporation, Junior Achievement, and the City of Albany COVID Risk Recovery Task Force.
I always try to be the one that doesn't have to be told he's on mute. I failed early. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Warren, for the introduction. It's an honor and a privilege to be here on behalf of the Upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce and our members. Good morning to Michael. Thank you for joining us as well. And with that being said, it's a privilege to serve in this capacity, and I look forward to our fireside chat with Dalsie about her work with the Division of Minority and Women Business Development. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about her. She's quite impressive, so I look forward to reading this and letting you know who she is. Ms. Andrade serves as Director of Business Development at the New York State Division at Empire State Development, where she implements strategies and systems that enrich MWBEs and support the acquisition of New York State government contracting. Before joining DMWBD, Dalsie cultivated and ushered equitable employer relationships in the private and public sectors to close the employment gap for youth across the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development workforce portfolio. Dalsie's 10+ years of business cultivation experience, workforce development, program management, and partnership building, as well as a special interest in infringing diversity and systemic employment barriers. Dalsie is a respected alum of New York University Robert F. Wagner Graduate School of Public Service and Boston College, where she earned a Master of Public Administration and a Bachelor's of Political Science, respectively. Ms. Andrade is a Massachusetts native and a New York City resident. Ms. Andrade, welcome to the discussion.
Tony, thank you so much. And as always, so nice seeing you. I know we've been in touch with many different events that we've had here in the division. So I'm really happy to be here at this U.S. Black Chambers Contracts and Capital Series. But Tony, before we get started, I was reading something that I just wanted to share with everyone,
Sure.
Which got me even more excited for the conversation.
Okay.
So I was just reading up more on small businesses and in particular Black-owned small businesses. So I'm throwing out some numbers and some stats, but I was just reading 3.12 million Black-owned businesses in the United States, generating $206 billion in annual revenue and supporting 3.56 million US jobs. So once I read that, I was just like, man, this is extremely critical when we talk about the story of the US economy. So I'm really happy for our conversation today, and thank you for the invitation. And yeah, just looking forward to getting into it.
Okay, well, as are we, and I'm looking forward to getting started. So on that note, let me just jump right in and ask you this question. What challenges existed within DMWBD before your stance as Executive Director of Empire State Development?
Yeah, so Tony, just to take a quick step back, just in case some folks on the call may not be familiar, but I am the Director of Business Development here at the New York State Division of Minority and Women Business Development, and it is part of Empire State Development, so basically the state's economic development arm. And really the mission that we have here within the division is all about promoting equality of economic opportunities for our MWBEs, so for our minority and women-owned businesses. And we do focus on eliminating those barriers that are present in terms of connecting MWBEs to state contracts. So in our mission, we mention the word equality, but when I truly look at it, it's really about equity and opportunities. So here in our division, we recognize and acknowledge that our MWBE community has unique challenges and circumstances, and we are in the position to allocate the exact resources and opportunities to really bring it to a more equal footing when we're thinking about businesses that are outside of our MWBE community. But going back to your question, just thinking about the challenges. So I always smile because, you know, the task that we have at hand, it's not always easy, especially when you're working through government bureaucracy. But I really want to frame the challenges that we've had, especially that I've seen when I first started in the position, as some of the opportunities for our division just to serve MWBEs more effectively and also more efficiently. So I'm happy to say that under our leadership of our executive VP and our executive director, Jerome Duvall, we have made some tremendous strides just in terms of the new vision that we have to really keep businesses top priority. But in terms of challenges, they mainly fall into three buckets. So the first one, which I'm sure folks are familiar with, is all about certification, so MWBE certification. So when I first started, we were very much up against a centralized application review process, which caused just increased review times, more delays in providing businesses with, you know, their final determination on their certification. And as part of our mission of, again, that equity in economic development opportunities, the first step that most businesses are taking, especially when we're thinking state contracts, is obtaining that certification. So while it wasn't a broken system, it was a system that really ran at snail's pace. So first was certification. Second was really around our state contracts and MWBE utilization. So each year, through our division, the work that we're doing with our state agencies and authorities, we continue to increase our utilization rates. Right now, we're at 30.51%, which is the highest that we've ever been at. But this requires significant engagement and oversight with our state agencies and authorities. So what we're thinking about is how can we more effectively ensure compliance, but also assist agencies in not just identifying MWBEs, but also rethinking how they structure or unbundle contracts so that more MWBEs can participate in different scopes of work. And along the contract line, just how we can more effectively provide the information and also the resources to better connect MWBEs to state contracts, and how can we really position MWBEs for success. So what, you know, coming in, we're thinking about what programs can we deliver to build, you know, MWBE capacity for state contracts, or what resources can we provide for financing, insurance, and bonding, and how can we connect, in some cases, MWBEs to prime, and how can we support MWBEs who are primes on different contracts. And Tony, just to wrap up the challenges, lastly, it goes back to customer care. So for some time, it was extremely difficult for businesses to get in touch with our office. It was kind of like we were the office here in Midtown in New York City. No one was able to get in touch with us, whether it was to inquire about an application status or schedule an appointment, to get assistance around identifying contracts that align with your business. So it was really hard to get anyone on the phone. So as public servants, it was really coming in and thinking about how do we improve the customer experience? How do we make sure that we are available to the MWBE community that we are supposed to be serving? So these are just some of the challenges that we face, but all to say, we're very much in a brand new space with a lot of positive changes already underway. So I'm looking forward to sharing more about that.
Thank you. That was a very full answer, and I really appreciate it. Having been in this work for approximately 4 years now, I can definitely attest to the growth and progress that your agency has made, especially under the new leadership. It began under the previous leadership with Ms. White, and it's great to see yourself and Mr. Duvall and Ryan and everybody there who has taken it to the next step with some of the ways you're going about doing things. So I really appreciate that, having been early on into it and understanding that the work you do is in lockstep with what our third pillar is in providing government contracting. So this, this progress is very important, and we look forward to continuing being a partner in that progress. So I'll jump to my next question. So can you specifically tell us how have you streamlined your systems to increase the share of state contracts and funding directed towards minority and women-owned businesses?
Yes, Tony, thank you so much for that question. I feel like it ties into what you just mentioned about just, all the strides that you've seen our division leading and continuing to lead. But I do want to point back to the mission that we have here in the division. So the work that we do as public servants is all about growing NWBEs through state dollars. So it's really about that access to the money that will grow their business in the immediate. But what we're also trying to do here in the division is think about how do we help build that generational wealth for the future as well. So to address some of the challenges and how we have streamlined. So again, our division under our new leadership with Jerome Duvall, we've really focused on putting MWBEs at the forefront of our work through our new customer care model. So this model has 4 main components, which really focuses on things such as, reliability in our processes and our programs, also assurance in division assistance and information exchange, but also just tangible resources to support and empower business growth for our MWBEs. But we also want to bring it back to our businesses, the individual people that are running these businesses every day. So it's about the empathy that we're using to just understand and also share in the MWBE experiences. And what we're trying to do, as always, and this is for all of our work, whether it's certification, working directly with the agencies, leading on business development, it's really about keeping this customer service mindset throughout all of the work that we do. And again, our work spans not just New York City and the 5 boroughs, but we're really touching all 10 New York State regions. So one of the first steps that we did take just in terms of streamlining our system was going back to that first step that I talked about, which is the MWBE certification process. So we have moved away into a decentralized certification application review process, which allows separate teams to move the application through 4 phases. So before, in kind of our older centralized process, it was 1 application with 1 analyst, and you need to factor in there, if there's missing documentation, we're adding on 90 days. If another document is missing after the second review, adding on another 90 days plus. So what we did is to make sure that we really took stock of that process and really figured out what do we need to do to make the change. Because again, that when we're thinking about access and wanting to eliminate barriers to access, the first step that we needed to do is take a look at the certification process. So we did that, and changes are already underway since January of this year to really take into account the amount of time that it's actually taking for our MWBEs to get certified. Another area just in terms of process was really thinking about the tangible resources that we have. And I guess staying a little bit more on certification, what we wanted to do, and it has already been developed, is a self-assessment tool. And this tool can be found on our webpage, but businesses can actually use this tool to check their compliance with Article 15A, which basically outlines all of the criteria for certification. So we now have this tool so that, MWBEs who are seeking certification, they can think about, their eligibility, but also us thinking about the time that it takes for MWBEs to submit and complete these applications. And we understand time is very much money, especially when we're thinking state contracts. So this tool kind of to enhance the new process that we have, this tool really helps businesses figure out their compliance before they go through just the onerous task of actually submitting an application. In terms of our state agencies and authorities, this is also another space. Again, our state agencies and authorities are really at the forefront of contract opportunities for MWBEs. And we are implementing supports that will ultimately help in connecting more businesses to contracting opportunities. So through our agency services unit here within the division, for example, we're establishing an ongoing schedule of agency procurement trainings for those procurement officers, for those MWBE liaisons at our state agencies and authorities to receive that training on, for example, Article 15A policies and procedures, really relating it back to key areas around MWBE utilization. So this training, our goal with this training is really to help propel the number of MWBEs and state contracts by enhancing the support that we provide to agencies as they're thinking through their contracts, their contract structures, and how exactly they award to MWBEs. In terms of business development, which is the unit that I'm leading, we are enhancing not only events for contracting information and real-time, connections, especially through our networking. We are really focusing in on how can we be more strategic with our events. I'm sure some folks know, Tony, I know you are already aware, but we have hosted our MWBE regional expos, covering all 10 New York State regions. And just a quick plug, our last expo is actually happening this Thursday for the Western New York and Finger Lakes regions. So these expos feature New York State agencies, authorities, and private companies, and also prime contractors that are providing immediate contract opportunities. So the biggest draw to the expo opportunity was really about networking. So we had 30 to 40 state agencies, authorities, and private companies that were available to speak to MWBEs in real time. So really answering your questions, and MWBEs were able to share more about their businesses, so their services, their goods. And it was all about, I think when we talk about connecting to opportunities, it's all about finding that alignment between your business and the open opportunities. And also kind of that third bucket is really getting in front of the state agencies and really making yourself known. So we're taking that in stock. And I do want to highlight also just thinking about programming. So right now we're currently revamping and we'll launch 2 new programs. So the first is called the Business Growth Accelerator program, which will provide mainly, and we'll change this as the program evolves, but for right now, this first iteration will focus on construction-based MWBEs. So this program will be providing technical assistance, one-on-one customized support, growth plans to expand your business capacity. So really great program. So just want to highlight that. And also we have a second, which is our Mentor Protege program. So this one is all about connecting prime contractors with subcontractors on predetermined state contracts. So this is really being at the forefront again of those contracting opportunities. And lastly, just to wrap this up, I know I've been talking a lot, but just going back to our customer care model, again, we have created a new unit and it's called the customer care unit. So this unit really acts as the repository for all inquiries, whether it's from our MWBEs, whether it's from our partners. And what we try to focus on with our customer care unit, it's all about transparency and access to information, which is vital to our MWBE community. And that I can share more information after our fireside chat, but it's really making sure that our team is available. So you can always pick up the phone, give our customer care unit a call, and you will get someone on the line. that you can speak to directly. But Tony, I know I said so much, but this really gives you, I know you already are aware, but it gives a lot of the folks that are joining us today a sense of kind of where we were and now where we are, but also giving a little bit more into where we're hoping to be in the very, very near future. So there's a lot going on, even in terms of a new technology platform that will be coming out from our division that really is targeting how do we connect MWBEs to stakeholders and opportunities. So I said a lot. We have a lot going on. I'll just leave it there.
Well, I appreciate that. And I wish we could continue this because I'm sure there's just a wealth of additional information, but I want to be fair in the interest of the next part of our presentation. Let me close by saying thank you to Ms. Andrade for your participation and for you sharing your expertise on contract acquisitions with us. I want to also thank U.S. Black Chambers for the opportunity to deliver the depth and breadth of available resources to our firms. And next up, we have Lisa and Warren, who will present the participants for today's roundtable. So again, I thank all of you for taking the time. Dalsie, please give my regards to Mr. Duvall and the entire team, and let's stay connected and continue to bring this great information to our businesses. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Gaddy and Ms. Andrade. That was extremely insightful, and I'm sure a lot of great tools and resources for our audience. My name is Lisa Carter. I'm Program Coordinator of the Community Navigator Pilot Program with the U.S. Black Chambers, and I am absolutely honored to introduce Mr. Alvin Hartley, who will engage us in a panel-style conversation with enterprise experts covering the essentials of a solid offer and insight into present procurement opportunities within their industry. Mr. Hartley has over 25 years of strategic planning and leadership development experience with TMI Partners, Ltd, with specialties in leadership and sales, training development, budgetary analysis, and strategic marketing concepts. He has rallied support from Time Warner Cable, Calvin Klein, and Black Entertainment Television, and sponsorship of New York City's inner city games. He's garnered endorsements from Coca-Cola, Reebok, Pepsi, and more. He was titled as the regional marketing representative by a nationally acclaimed lifestyle benefits company. He's pioneered the first African-American and Hispanic triathlon club in America, blueprinted several collaborative projects, the New York City Duathlon Series, Negril Spirit Triathlon, the Nutriment New Harlem 10,000 foot race, etc. And he serves dually as a recruiter for the National Historical Black College, business tours, and devout business advisors of the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Hartley, thank you so much for your participation, and we're so looking forward to this session.
Oh, is that all about me? I used to run those races. Oh, good morning, everyone. Anthony, a great presentation with your panelists. I'm excited to be here. Thank you again, United States or U.S. Black Chamber, for allowing me this opportunity. This is a blessing for me to be on a platform on this level. And my wife said if I mispronounce words, she's going to beat me up. So if I mispronounce anything, y'all don't let my wife know, please, y'all. Okay. So let's go ahead and introduce our panelists and let's have some fun. First of all, coming to the stage here as he walks on, I would like to introduce you to Michael Roach. Michael Roach is an award-winning marketing and communication professional. Michael's been leveraging his background in visual and storytelling capacity. Michael Roach is also the producer of several internationally award-winning documentaries, recognized as a recipient of the Avid Award, which is a leading augmenting software company. Mr. Roach, make sure I get that right when you tell me after, Mr. Roach. I appreciate you. Past president of the American Marketing Association here in New York City region. Michael thrives a dynamic innovative atmosphere by engaging audience in commerce, strategies, and technology. Michael's goal is to elevate marketing entrepreneurs and scale them in the business community. Welcome, Michael. Thank you for being here. Another panelist. This young lady, I told this young lady, I'm just gonna take my company, put it on the side and come work for her. Roxanne Rivera-Wiest has over 35 years of experience in government contracting, marketing, and communication. Listen to this. In 1981, she found PMR Construction Inc. With only $1,300 investment, became an 8A certified and groomed the firm to a $20 million net worth, over 100 employees, and 3 offices around New Mexico State. Roxanne is a consistent, not one time, a consistent U.S. Small Business Award of Excellence recipient, a National Association of Female Executives of the Year awardee, and the National Advisory Committee on Aeronautics, and the business nominee for former Secretary of Labor under Elaine Chao. Boy, yeah, I'm gonna quit my job right now and come work. After selling PMR Construction, Roxanne leveraged her excellence to craft a 5-time recognized U.S. Top 500 Hispanic-owned business known as GovBizTech. Consulting, here it comes, consulting firms scaling small to mid-sized entrepreneurs to federal procurement opportunity. Ms. Weiss, welcome. And the last but not least, watch this, y'all. You're gonna love this one. This woman is dynamic. Priscilla Weiss is a graduate of Delta State University with 20 years of experience in her role as supplier diversity and supply chain management. Ms. Weiss also oversees a team of supply chain professionals and constructs relationship within Wells Fargo's community. As part of Wells Fargo commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, Ms. Weiss teams maintain and forces the integration of diverse suppliers options into procurement strategies and alliance with corporate ESG. Now listen to her background. As a former vice president of supplier diversity at Food Buy, I think it's called Compass Group, vice president of corporate development and executive director of Charlotte Minority Economic Development Initiative, and board leadership experience with the American Red Cross. Ms. Weiss has earned numerous awards during her career, including, here it comes, 2020 and 2018 Top 25 Diverse Women in Power by Diversity Plus Inc., the All-Star of Supply Diversity by MBN Magazine in 2019, and recognized in the Top 50 Omni Award in Multicultural Business in 2018. I'm just quitting. I'm shutting my company down. That's it. I'll come work for you young folks. Welcome aboard. God bless you for being here. Let's have some fun, okay? For the listening and viewing audience, as our panelists interact with these questions that I'm presenting, what you're going to experience is their experience. And you will feel how they went through those journeys to get to some of the solutions that they will be offering. So let the questions and let the journey begin for our panelists. Okay, then? And before I say that, would each panelist like to say hello, if you don't mind?
I can start. Miss Wallace will say hello, not Miss Weiss, but Miss Wallace will.
Okay.
Okay.
And
I thought you were calling me Miss Wise at first, and I was like, man, I'll tell you what, that's what I speak is wisdom.
Now, don't say too much because my wife is going to be looking at the tape later.
But hello, everyone. I just want to just come to you from Wells Fargo. I'm the head of supplier diversity and head of supply chain sustainability with Wells Fargo. But first, I just want to thank the U.S. Black Chamber for organizing this great forum today. And Wells Fargo is a proud, steadfast supporter of the incredible work that USBC is doing each and every day to help advance African-American-owned businesses throughout this country. So we're proud to be here, we're proud to serve, and we're proud to support.
Mr. Roach, would you like to say hi?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Hartley. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to spend time with all of you and hear about your esteemed background. I feel like I'm in great company. I'm humbled to be a part of this panel. I want to say a quick thank you to my colleague, Anthony Gaddy, in the area with the UpState New York Black Chamber of Commerce. He's been a great resource to me, and also thanks to the U.S. Black Chambers for having this discussion and bringing us together in this format. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Weiss, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Thank you.
Hello.
I just wanted to thank the USBC for having me. I am honored to be a part of this esteemed panel, and I look forward to our discussion.
Thank you for taking the opportunity. So let the journey begin, okay? Here's our first journey question. In your experience, what barriers exist for small businesses when seeking prime procurement opportunities, and what solutions are available to leverage the playing field? Anybody can jump in. Go right ahead.
I'll jump in if that's okay. And Alvin, please call me Roxanne.
Oh, thank you. I wanted to say Roxanne so bad. Thank you so much.
My name's too hard to pronounce.
Thank you.
Anyway, to address the question, as a small minority contractor, when I had my construction company, one of the huge barriers that I faced was the fact that the federal government, and I was a federal contractor, I was an 8A certified contractor, the federal government had a 5% goal for small minority businesses to subcontract. So large federal contractors had that 5% goal, and it was simply a goal. That's all it was. And what has happened since 2021 under the current administration is that 5% goal has now become an 11% goal, and it is going to rise to 15% by 2025. And along with that, they're going to start holding the leaders of these federal agencies accountable through progress reporting. So whereas before it was simply a suggestion, now it is a mandate, and they have to show their accountability through progress reporting. And that means the world to small minority businesses, because now that gives these companies such a better chance of being able to show their qualifications and being able to pick up some of this federal money that is coming down through the Build Back Better, which is a lot of money, and everybody deserves to have part of that money in helping to advance our country forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Roxanne. Mr. Roach, would you like to jump in? Or Priscilla?
Sure. Go for it, Priscilla.
Well, I'm going to come from more of a corporate perspective, and probably most of my talking point will be from working in a large corporation for the majority of my career. And when you think about what barriers exist for small businesses when seeking procurement opportunities, One of the things about most large corporations, they're going to have a supply chain. And that supply chain is responsible for ensuring that we source and procure products and services from quality suppliers who can meet our needs related to cost, quality, delivery, innovation, and the business strategy. And small businesses, MWBEs, they play a major important role within the supply chain. But some of the barriers would be insurance requirements. Do you have the right insurance requirements? Is there an understanding of third-party risk, what that looks like? For example, I work for a financial institution. Do we understand what regulators are looking for, how to mitigate risk? And sometimes small businesses compete against big corporations can create a challenge. So instead of seeking to be the prime supplier, are there opportunities to looking at being the subcontractor versus the prime supplier, leveraging access to the resources that are available? Most large financial institutions, we're going to offer sessions and opportunities for access to capital. We're going to offer capacity building programs because there are programs to help you scale, to help you understand how to navigate supply chain disruptions, helps you understand how to pitch to a corporations. And also the last thing that I would see is an opportunity is prioritize the customer. Instead of going out to multiple customers, really learn, really hone in about the one. I always say for any business, every year your plan should just be, it just depends on where you're at financially and how large your company. Identify 2 or 3 customers that you're going to target for that year. Learn everything you can about that customer. Learn how to navigate, try to be in the room, build relationship. Learn what's unique about your company that you can sell. It just take one. You got 3. I mean, you had 12 months, but if you target 3, something is bound to happen. So anyway, I'll stop because I can go on and I want to give Michael the opportunity to take us to the next place with this.
Come on now.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. Yeah, I was going to say that I think some of the barriers that exist for small businesses is sometimes I think they don't know where to begin. They're in this position to know about these opportunities that exist about procurement situations, and they're like, well, how do I start the conversation? I think that is certainly a barrier, and sometimes I think small businesses don't know how to initiate that conversation. They might even have trouble with networking or building relationships. So I think it's important for small business owners to think about ways they can reach out to some of these organizations that are offering these procurement opportunities, create a relationship, get on their mailing list, look at their website and stay up to date, ask questions even. And, the more that you create that situation where you can ask questions and create a connection, you can be more aware of these things that happen. And then even networking within your own area, I think that can help build relationships, and it will help you stay visible as a small business owner.
Can I add a comment to that, please? It'll be really quick. I used to, one of the great parts of my career, I used to love when I had the opportunity to really identify 2 or 3 suppliers that I wanted to move from mentorship to sponsorship. Mentoring when I'm just sharing ideas and talking to you, hearing about your business plan. But sponsorship is when you invest in that supplier. When they succeed, you succeed. And so one of the challenges I think for small businesses is trying to be everything that the company needs. You're back in the back office, you work in the product, you're at the front, you're running the sales, and then, you're at the networking, but you have to understand what is your unique gift, what is your unique skill set that you bring, and then figure out how to have the right people to fill those other gaps. Because most of the time when you get in front of a corporation, you've got that one pitch, that one time to give your best presentation, if they're not a sponsor, then they just a mentor. But you want to move people from being a mentor to a sponsor with your products and your services.
I like to sum that up. Learn the playbook, learn to read the game, know the rules, study, okay? And develop lanes that you're able to be effective. That's what all three of these dynamic leaders just said. Learn the rule books, learn the players, stay focused, stay in your lane, and stay laser. Did I say that right, team? Excellent. So let's move on to the second question here. What connections are available for minority businesses seeking procurement, or was that the, oh yeah, seeking procurement relationship within the private and public sector? And how should business owners pursue those relationships? We'll keep the interaction shorter, but let's go have some fun. Come on, who wants to go?
I'll jump in again if that's okay.
No, Roxanne. Yes.
Well, what our company does is we help small businesses get certified, but what I would do as a small business owner is I would get in contact with the local office of the Small Business Administration, because they can put you in touch with small business development centers. They can put you in touch with procurement and technical assistance centers. And what's wonderful about these centers is that they're comprised of former business people. They're also comprised of former contracting officers. So these are people that have been in the front lines, and they can sit with you and they can help you, whether you want to become certified on a state level, on a federal level, and they can help you, they can assist you. So that would be my first point of contact, would be my local small business administration office.
Nice.
And then just to add on to Roxanne, once you get certified as a small business or diverse-owned business, you should then register on the corporation's website into their portal and leverage the supplier diversity and procurement teams across corporations so that we are aware of your firm's capabilities. When you go and register on our website, you upload your certification once you follow Roxanne guidelines, then we can then add you to our supplier database. So as we're building our sourcing pipeline, that we are able to see your information and we have your certification available. And also it helps us connect you to those business opportunities in our particular areas where we have opportunities.
Thank you. Our time is getting short, and you know I love to have a good party and have a good time. So if you don't mind, the next question, and here we go. What metrics are evaluated when measuring value added by prime and subcontractors, and does it vary by industry? Would someone like to just address that real quick? Or you want me to read it again, or?
Well, I'll start. Some of the metrics that we look at and that we evaluate when measuring added value, when a supplier is competing in an RFX, RP, we review the supplier price-based, cost-based, quality-based, performance-based, and we also review the third-party risk, as well as look at how the supplier has performed with other corporations. We often ask who have you worked with, and then just kind of give us an example of your experiences, your products, what's unique. Some of the other things that we look at your website. We look at, we don't like lengthy proposals or PowerPoints, because these days people don't like to read. They like a quick visual that helps them understand who you are and what you do. And most importantly, what we look at, and believe it or not, we want to know how well do you know our business. So all those things matter when we're assessing a supplier for consideration.
Thank you. That was, as always. Go ahead.
Yeah, I love the point that you brought up, Ms. Wallace, about what does your website look like, and submitting lengthy proposals people love to skim. People like to have things scannable, and they don't want to be inundated with too much material. So I think if you can get your point across in the succinct way as in as much of a succinct way as possible, I think that's perfect. And just imagine like your website that you present, it's available, it's your selling point. And if you can't convey what you do as a business and let people know that they're supposed to be there and what it is that you do, who you serve, then you're sending the wrong message to a lot of these individuals that can provide you these procurement opportunities.
Less is more.
Less is more.
And to follow on, Alvin, on that statement, I think having a nice, sharp capability statement goes along with having a nice, sharp website. Your capability statement can be short and sweet, but it can sell you. If you make sure that I would pay the money to have somebody help you put together a good capability statement.
Exactly.
Let me sum this up, ladies and gentlemen. That summons was, don't feel afraid to ask question. Okay, then put the money up to get what you need, because when you walk in there, you're looking good, you're smelling good, and you're sounding good. And that's one of the winning solutions that companies are looking at. Did I say that right, team?
You did.
Yes.
I love your interpretation, Mr. Hartley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Looking good and you're smelling good. How could you possibly go wrong?
How can you go wrong? Thank you for that blessing. Now we're almost finished, but here's a question for Roxanne and Mr. Roach. You ready? For $5 million, here's the question. What has been your experience when submitting a bid, or you've been awarded a bid as a contracting officer? What negotiable exits within the procurement process are there, and what are the challenges on the marketing and the bartering? What are all those things when you go and you're bidding or you want to bid? Can I hear some of those few bullet points of some of the challenges that you may have and how you dealt with those challenges?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump in.
Right.
As a person who was submitting bids to the federal government for many years, when I first started out, I was very much afraid. I wanted to go in, and Priscilla touched on it, that you want to be everything. You want to be, as a small business person, you feel that you have to sell yourself on everything, when in fact, you are looked upon so much better when you have a smaller niche. When you say, okay, I'm good at this. This is what I'm darn good at, and that's about it. And that will garner you more respect than trying to be everything. And the one thing I found, that when I went into negotiating a contract, they were so much more willing to work with me than I thought they would be. And that came from my fear as well. And so you have to be able to lose that fear. You have to be able to walk in with confidence and say, I'm good at what I do, and they're lucky to have me sitting in this room. And yes, I'm going to be fair and I'm going to negotiate, but you can't be afraid to not give up too much. If you feel that there's a certain profit rate that you deserve and that you need to fight for it. If you feel, and typically G&A rates sometimes can be audited, but if you feel you have a certain G&A rate or a certain labor burden that you need to meet in your project, then stick to it. And you will find that you get more respected if you are adamant about what you need to be able to do the best job you can for that agency.
Thank you, Roxanne. Ms. Roach, you got a quickie? Or I would like
Sure. I would just say that in situations where you want to get that contract, it's great to be flexible. It's a good thing to ask questions, Yeah, you don't want to be everything to everybody, because that puts you in a really tough, bad position. So you want to be clear at the beginning, but also specify and just get clear on what your responsibilities or what the expectations are, so that maybe what you need to do exists outside of the contract. Don't talk yourself into more work or something beyond the scope of what you're doing. So I wanted to offer that.
Yeah, stay in your lane, stay focused, and listen and ask questions. How about that? Absolutely. All right, here we got 2 more questions, and then we're wrapping it up. Here, which area of procurements are most accessible to provide services? And what should small business owners be aware of before accepting a contract? We're going to give these short version. Who'd like to jump in? Okay. Nobody wants to take this one, huh?
I'll jump in. I think
Come on, Priscilla, you want. Come on, jump in there.
I do, but I don't. And let me tell you why I say that. Because you asked the question, which areas of procurement are most accessible to provide services? When you think about that, I think it depends on the type of company or corporation that you are seeking to do business with. And it goes to understanding the company, understanding what are the business needs, where are the challenges, where's the low-hanging fruit. And the question is, how can you help them solve their problem? Do you even know what their problem is? Do you understand that gap or that niche? And so I would say the first thing as a small business is you should offer great product or services that we can identify with, that you are able to clearly articulate how your product can add value or solve a problem. And so especially like, for example, in the financial services sector, we're always undergoing changes. There's always new rules, there's always audits, there's always regulatory concerns that we have to be aware of. And so there's always changes within the technology space. As we're increasing regulatory requirements and shifting consumer behavior, our drive for this is much different. So we're looking for different types of solutions to be able to respond to our consumers faster, quicker, better, more innovative, more creative. For example, I was just recently at this very large woman-owned conference, and typically before, we would take brochures and we would have pamphlets and little tchotchkes to give out. But instead, this time, we went and we had the little plexiglass, cost $2 or $3, and we had our QR code. And you would just go and scan the QR code, and it takes you right into our registration portal. It took you right to understanding how to work with our supplier diversity team. It gave you information about Wells Fargo, who we are, and how we work with suppliers. So trying to figure out how do I solve for something for the corporation helps us be able to make sure that you're meeting our procurement needs.
Excellent. QR codes are the best thing to use. Okay, last question. We have a minute. And this again is directed towards Mr. Roach and Roxanne. Basically, the question is about bonding. I'll put it in my way of asking it. The challenge that companies have, about the bonding. But I think sometimes people get it confused that, what level of bonding that you need. Okay, then. So within a few seconds, within this minute, either one, Priscilla or Mr. Roach, jump in and tell us about that bonding challenge. Having a bond, not bonding, having a bond.
Well, coming from, this is Roxanne, coming from the construction industry, bonding, especially if you do state and federal contracting, it's your lifeblood. If you are a general contractor, if you're a subcontractor, you live and die by your bonding. So you have to be very knowledgeable when you step into the bonding world. there is an organization called the National Association of Surety Bond Producers. They have a great website. If you go on there, they will do a bonding 101. I think they have a presentation online so that you can learn about bonding. But one of the things that a surety bond agent they take into account your capital. How much money do you have in the bank that you can put behind this job? They take into account your ability to perform. But one of the huge things they take into account is your integrity. It is amazing how many people can get bonds if they can actually meet the surety bonding agent face to face, and they say, wow, this guy is honest. He's going to get the job done. And it's amazing how in this day and age, that is one of the main factors in getting a surety bond, is having that integrity, having that credibility. So building that within yourself is huge. And again, the NASBP website, they also have a list of surety bond producers that are qualified and that are on the up and up, because sometimes there's some scam artists out there who will say, I'll give you a bond, but turns out they're working in somebody's basement, and so that's why that website is really important to go to, because if you have a name of a bonding agent, you can plug that in and they'll tell you whether he's on the up and up or not.
Excellent. Well,
I love that resource. I love that resource. Thank you for that, Roxanne. I wanted to also say, just to tag along to that, in terms of mindset, at least for the small business owner, and having that confidence, it's important to know that you to build that confidence in yourself, that you have to say to yourself on a day-to-day basis, this is something I can do. I want to achieve this next level. And you just have to, as a small business owner, try to reframe how you're thinking about this type of work, because it does take a level of responsibility and confidence as a small business owner.
I want to thank all three panelists for having fun with me and everyone else. I couldn't be blessed more to be in your presence. I thank you so much. At this present time, I would like to turn it back over to Lisa and Warren. And thank you again for your U.S. Black Chamber for allowing me this opportunity. Lisa, Warren.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hartley, and thank you, all the participants. A tremendous thank you to the moderators, Mr. Anthony Gaddy, CEO and co-founder of UpState New York Black Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Alvin Hartley, the accomplished leader of TMNI Partners, LTD, and of the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce. Our guest speakers, Ms. Dalsie Andrade, Director of Business Development at the New York State DMWBD, Ms. Roxanne Rivera-Wiest, published writer, acclaimed founder of PMR Construction, Inc. and GovBizTech, Ms. Priscilla Wallace, Wells Fargo, Head of Supplier Diversity and Supply Chain Management, and Mr. Michael Roach, award-winning marketing communications professional and owner of Michael Roach Creative. All of you, thank you so much for your participation today in making part 2 of our Contracts and Capital series a major success. And thank you to all of the attendees, those of you who have viewed today's session. We hope that you gained a lot of insight, and we look forward to your attendance at our next session, which will take place on July 26th. We will cover certifications, the door to the bag. And that will take place at 11:30 Eastern time as well. We'll have a number of other opportunities for sessions as well. But first, I want to highlight our organization by Black, which is the only Black certification program with a business directory providing businesses that certify access to private and public procurement. This platform has opportunities to highlight your business and other benefits. This online program can help you prepare for the contracting space as a documents preparation guidance. And you can learn more about our By Black platform at usblackchambers.org/certifications. As we mentioned, again, there are other events we want you to participate in. So part 3 of our contracts and capital session will take place on the 26th of July at 11 Eastern. There we will have enterprise experts to usher the conversation on business credentials, ways to market your certifications, and accessing expansion opportunities. And then on June 23rd, we'll have our part 2 of Grow with Google. This conversation will be spent talking about ways to use analytics to target your customers. This will take place at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll have a live broadcast of the Greenwood Women's Business Center Entrepreneurship Lab, which will take place on June 29th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And there will also be our small business insurance basics event with the Oakland Small Business Development Center on June 30th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget to also register for the USBC National Conference. That'll take place on July 14th through the 16th. And we'll have more details on that on our website at usbcconference.com. Okay. For more events like these, we hope that you will regularly visit and certify for upcoming events at usblackchambers.org/webinars. Follow us on social media at usblackchambers.org. And if today's session activated additional questions or interests, feel free to contact us at programs@usblackchambers.org. Thank you all. Have a great day.